Alright, here's my task. I've got to slice this guy up. It's about 50 inches long, about 15 inches across in the narrowest, and a little bit more at the top, and that really don't matter. And these live edges got to go. And I want to turn that into this type of thing right here. I should have been more prepared. Same kind of thing. So those live edges got to go. Now I've got a table saw that'll handle that. And I think what I'm going to end up doing is screwing it to this board right here and using that as a straight edge on the to run it through the table saw. And then we're going to end up got a Laguna 3/4 inch ripsaw king with carbide teeth, and I'm going to try and slice that down the middle. Got to replace the blade tomorrow. All right, and that's it for tonight. Okay, what we've got here is this slab that I need to trim up into some nice pieces, and these edges got to go. Now, one of the first things I need to do is figure out where the center is, and I'm going to draw a chalk line down the middle of the apparent center. Hopefully it'll go down the middle of the center grain there, but could be a little bit off. Don't know. Maybe the tree was bent. It's just a rough measurement. I just don't want the grain tilted when I start cutting this up. Like it as straight as possible. So we got 2 points there, a center on each end. Let's drop a chalk line on there and see what happens. There you go, and it boink. And we now have the center. Pay no attention to me trying to crank it in the wrong way. I don't know what I was thinking. So now I'm going to grab a board and put it on there, and this is the part that will ride against the fence. And I'll figure it out in a minute here, but I got two really nasty projections on that side that would not be good. Yeah, there's one of them. The other one's at the other end. So we'll just see the other side. And try not to punch a hole in the garage door insulation. Oh, scratch a little bit. Now off camera here in a minute, I am going to cut another 11-inch piece of that board and tack it on the end there. I'm trying to puzzle whether or not one end or the other can be short and still touch the fence by the time the blade gets done, or to be sure it's touching the fence before the blade starts cutting. So I played it safe and went ahead and cut another piece of wood, and you'll see here in a minute. Trying to get it as close to even as possible. So there's a lot of different ways to do this. It's just the one that I figured out might work best for me. My whole problem was watching them do it on YouTube was the unsupported cut, because they'll put that end down on the saw and then leave that huge overhang with whatever that is, 3/4 of an inch above the blade, and then try and hold it down flat. And I said, no, how about we just put the flat end of the board down on the table saw and let this thing ride on top. So that's what I'm going to end up doing here. I know y'all going to yell at me for not letting you see the air nailer going, but that's what's going to happen next. All right, now it's nailed on there, and there's an extra piece on the end. Use the straight edge to make sure they lined up. It's on there fairly good. Nice and smooth. That'll be riding against the fence. And all that other stuff on the other end is going to get cut off. Now I'm explaining why I'm running it on that surface and not the other surface. I suppose you could probably tack a little piece on the other end, a 1x2 or something like that, to keep it somewhat level. But I know if you let that kind of overhang and you hit it with that saw blade, it's going to pull it down to the table, and all kinds of bad things are going to happen. And I don't want to know. This is a new saw blade I got to do the job. I had a 30 tooth and of the same Freud Industrial glue line rip, but it seemed to burn a lot of the other stuff, and a lot of people recommend with too many teeth, you need a much coarser. So I went ahead and got a 24 tooth industrial, and we'll see how it does on this. Oh, didn't know I had that running all this time. Anyhow, I'll cut that part out. That looks like it's gonna work a lot better. Well, let me get set up for that and to make this cut. And now here's another problem. I either need to add another board on this side and turn it over, because it's, look, that's warped like crazy. Alrighty, I'll think on that for a minute. Alright, I'm going to cut off some strips here to line the edge of the board. A couple like this ought to be fine, I hope. Here we go. Now I know y'all wanted to see the air nailer going. I don't want to make anybody mad, so I think I'm going to probably be cutting right about there. So if I stay inside, it should be okay. Yeah, which is this side here. This ought to do it. That's not too flat either, but oh well. Well, hopefully this will work. See what happens. Let's see. This gets flipped over that way. That's not going to be fun. Alright. Get back to you in a minute. Alright, that's what we've got. Looks like a supported cut. It's going to be clean away from that saw blade, so I don't have to worry about it. That blade's up as high as it goes. I hope it makes it. That saw blade is all the way up. I'm up against the fence. I'm supported on both edges. Let me introduce you to Carl. Well, well, that was fun. I'll figure out why it didn't cut all the way through, but it's not a very flat board, so it's understandable. Like that one. Well, as you can see, the saw didn't cut all the way through. It's kind of tapered thick on this end, thin on the other. Cut all the way through on the back end of this, and then snapped off on this end here. But this end here is a little bit too much. So I'm just going to use this and see if I can cut through it that way. Yeah, still needs a little cleanup on that edge, but it's basically the first cut. Tempted to send it through again. Turned over. Thought it was warped, remember, so. Alrighty. Clean that up and then do the other side. Hopefully the south still works. Alright, now cutting the other side off. What?
You're being recorded and I didn't want to interrupt.
Is it something important?
Well, I just saw the wood bouncing up and I was a little concerned, that's all. It's not important.
What wood?
That wood the first time you went through.
Okay. Alright, here we go.
just disregarded it.
Right. Nobody got killed. And then I got it. Where's the best place to stand to do this? I think over here. All right. That's up. That's tight. All those are checked. Well, here we are. This is the 2 pieces left after I got done planing them. So this one turned out pretty good. I mainly focused on making one side really clean and then making the other side flat. So I think one side's a usable side. The rest will be on the back. But part of the problem, and this was a nasty piece of wood, as you can see, it's pretty bowed. But it was also cut in this direction here. It's pretty flat now, at least it's usable. This one is a lot better. It straightened out fairly well. So there we go, and they're going to be cut up into signs, so I'm not so much worried about the bow. But there's all that, and then I'll leave you with this.